Thanks for watching our last video. I mean, it was our best video yet. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I've been afraid to post because that last video that we did, the opening of the trick or trade box, has been doing really good. It's one of our best, Kai and I's best videos yet. Now, if you're new here, you just subscribed. What Kai and I do is we're sort of on a collecting path together. We've been collecting for quite a while now, and we own one of those online stores where, we buy and sell cards. We also sell sealed product, and we sort of chronicle our collecting, and we chronicle our PSA returns. We have a lot of fun opening cards. I sometimes talk about different things happening in the Pokemon market. I talk about, occurrences that happen with customers. But I wanted to talk about today is what I'm seeing is some people, they're exiting the hobby. Now, when you're planning your exit from the hobby, what you have to think about is not, I gotta sell everything, I gotta go. What you want to do is try to avoid a complete exit from the hobby. Exiting the hobby comes from a couple of things. Fatigue. Fatigue is a big one. People just get, I'm done. I don't want to open another pack. I don't want to buy another card. I don't want to look at my binders anymore. And financial hardship. Those are probably the two biggest reasons why people will give for exiting the hobby. And I've had to help people exit the hobby. We've had to buy collections. It's something that I try. Well, most times I'm not able to really help this person because they're in a position where they have maybe $10,000 worth of cards, worth of sealed product, and I just can't. We're a small store, I just don't have the means to help that person to buy their collection, even at a huge discount. I just don't have that money. But exiting the hobby is something you should be concerned about. There's a couple of ways to avoid exiting the hobby or making sure you're ready when that exit has to happen. The first, let's talk about fatigue. Fatigue is something where you're just too much. I've got too much Pokemon cards around, taking up too much space. I don't want to see another Pokemon card. Fatigue is something that people should be afraid of. It happens when there's too many new sets. There's too many new cards. I tried to collect everything. I look at my collection and I don't know what I'm doing this for. You start to think your collection is not giving you the joy it should. Now, part of the reason why people see fatigue is they try to collect them all. They try to catch them all. You don't need to catch them all. When you're collecting, you should really be thinking about just getting the cards you want. Oh, it's easy to say, right? But there's so many beautiful cards, etc. Well, a lot of the most rich collectors in the world, they don't collect them all. Very few go after everything. They create collection goals. They create prizes for themselves that they want to accomplish. And you don't have to be the richest person to do that. If you have a niche, if you have something you really like, you don't have to go after every single alt art. You don't have to fill every single binder. You don't have to master every single set. What you want to do is find out what you really like and just collect those. Kai and I started as master set collectors. We would fill up a binder and we chase each card, and we want to have every set card, every holo, every reverse holo from that set, every regular card. And it's too much. We stopped mastering sets. We have a couple that we're finishing up because it's good to feel that check mark. But we've decided that master set collecting is not for us. I mean, it's nice that we have those and we're not going to drop them from our collection, but it's not for us. Kai is actually tuned in his collecting, and I have as well. I mean, Kai is currently, he goes after error cards. He goes after those unique, weird things that can happen to cards, and those are her favorite type. And Other collectors that he knows are starting to say, Kai collects airs. Maybe he's interested in it. And, the great thing about that is when you're known for a niche, people think of you. Like, Kai recently came into all of these, and I'm sure he'd want to show them too, but he came into all of these and they're square cuts. A whole pack of square cuts. And he'll add these to his binder of miscuts and square cuts, and he loves them. They're just common and uncommon, but they're cool. They're part of his collection, and that's what he goes after. Niche is something that will help you avoid that fatigue. You don't have to master every set. And also, you don't have to do it quickly. A lot of people will try to get cards and they'll get burnt out because they can't get the cards, and that happens. Collecting is more of a marathon. It's something to be stretched out, and we learned that too. We're no longer, chasing after a master set or going after, old sets and full sets and all that stuff. Find a niche, and that's how you avoid fatigue. I know one collector, he doesn't know what exactly he wants, so he decided to set a collecting goal. He said, I'm going to bring together, doesn't matter condition, I'm going to bring together all the Southern Islands cards. And that's what he did. So he went and got them, and he put them all together, and he said to himself, I really like putting these all together. Another collector that we know of, she focuses on winter and winter-themed cards. That's her niche. So she doesn't have to collect everything. She doesn't have to buy into every new set. She goes after those really neat cards that mean something, that belong in her niche. And she is probably a lot more happy with her niche collection than someone who just gets everything. And, it's hard when you do have everything. It becomes too much. You can't enjoy it. It's, as some people say, it doesn't have an identity. And that's one thing that you should be working for when you're working on your collection, is figure out what your identity is, what you like to collect. So that's exiting the hobby because you're fatigued. It happens. When you're exiting the hobby because of fatigue, often I tell people, don't sell it all. Don't get rid of it all. Put it away. Take just your favorite things from your collection and put it away. Put it in a big sealed, dry, Rubbermaid container. Seal it away. Come back to it maybe in a year or two, see what happens. The reason is because if you sell it all, you might end up with a bit of regret. You might end up down the road feeling, ooh, I wish I didn't do that. And so many collectors will tell you they regret exiting the hobby. They regret selling their collection. And some won't. Some will be like, okay, yep, done. But a lot will say they regret, and they'll enter the hobby and they'll have regret around it. The other thing, about that collecting just what you like, is you don't end up spending as much. You can still spend. You can. Money makes collections bigger and bigger. I would say if you're having fatigue, try to reduce the size of your collection. Cut it down. Remove the fat. That's another way to fight it. And then there's the second reason people have to exit the hobby. And it's probably the biggest reason and the one that causes the most hardship, and that's financial hardships. You got some big bill, you want to buy a house, you got in trouble for spending too much, you don't feel you're getting what you want out of all the money you spent, and then you have to exit. Now, exiting because of financial hardship is probably the most difficult, because you have all of your collection. You probably know roughly what it's worth on paper, right? Let's say you have $10,000 worth of items. You do, right? That's your collection. You got $10,000 worth of things, but you need that $10,000. But you got so much. It's going to be really hard for you to sell that and get that value. If you've just been building all along, you're going to have a hard time selling. You're going to have a hard time changing what you have back into money. It's because liquidity. You may have $10,000 worth of cards, but there's very few people who will just outright buy every single card of yours. That is one thing that people can plan for. So if you are the kind of person who is continually selling your cards, continuing building up relationships, when it comes down to financial hardship, it's a little bit easier to find the people who might buy certain parts of your collection, help you get out of that financial hole because of the hardship. I know that there's another collector that I've, sold sealed product to, sold cards to, and she's trying to sell her collection. She's trying to sell everything, and she has a lot of work to do because I've asked her, along her collecting journey, do you sell cards? And for the longest time, no. She didn't sell cards. She kept everything. And now that she has to sell everything, it's taking a lot of work for her to get her money out of that collection. So maybe she has $10,000 worth of cards. It's going to take her a lot of work to get that $10,000. And yeah, that's another thing. You have to plan for your exit. Planning for your exit is to work on selling along the way, is to look at niching, look at things that make you happy, and trying to rehome those things that aren't for you, that aren't meant to be on your desk. Kai and I running this shop, we have things that, we wouldn't keep ourselves, but part of the Pokemon business is to have a nice big selection, to be able to get cards for different individuals. Like, we sell a lot of cards to players. We sell a lot of cards to collectors. We sell, the newest set when it comes out. We sell Japanese. We sell everything. And Kai and I, Japanese are beautiful cards. Love them. But I think I would only put like 1 or 2 Japanese cards in my collection. And those have to do with promo cards. I love the unique Japanese exclusives. It's part of my set identity for my personal collection. I love those really beautiful textured cards that you can only get in Japanese. I might put one of those in my collection. And I have a binder myself. And most of my collection, my personal collection, they have to do with, these cards that I just love. They have to do with cards that Kai and I picked up. We were in Toronto at Banana Games one day, and we got a Snorlax tin, and it's a Snorlax and Eevee, and we opened it there in Banana Games. It was our Pokemon part of our day and our trip to Toronto, and that card, that promo card from that box, I probably wouldn't just buy it, but I'm definitely keeping it. It means something to me. So if you're working on your collection and you want to avoid fatigue, I really recommend focusing and niching, finding what you like. And if you want to avoid the big financial hardship that you have to sell your collection, I would say also be engaged in the market. Be constantly selling. Even if it's just rehoming or selling cards that they're all, you don't want, or maybe aren't even valuable that much, right? They're not valued that much. Just having that extra experience, having that eBay account that has, 200 verified star sales, that means a lot when it comes time for you have to exit quickly. You have to put 100 things on your eBay store and get it sold. People will look at your history and be like, yeah, I'll buy that EX from that person. They have a good history. That's one of the things you need to do is when you're collecting, think about avenues that'll help you if you have to exit the hobby. 1, avoiding fatigue, and 2 is always be selling. Just not always be collecting, but be selling, be rehoming cards, be refining, be improving. So once again, if you've stayed this long, appreciate the like, appreciate the subscribe especially. I've been afraid to post since our trick or trade video has been doing so well. I'm afraid it's going to drop the views or drop the new subs, but we're really happy. We're going to keep opening cards and keep, having our YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun for us. It's an outlet. And you probably notice that some weeks we post a lot. Some weeks we don't post very much at all. Most of that is because how busy one might be. Like the Pokemon card shop that we have, it's not a full-time thing for Kai and I. It's, there's busy times, but it's something that I squeeze in when I'm not working and I have a full-time job. So it might be an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. That's how time works. And we really appreciate the subscribe. We really appreciate the view. Thank you for being here. So, see you soon. Bye, guys.